Yo, what's up? I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart, both books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing ORPHAN X by Gregg Hurwitz. This is book number 1 in his ORPHAN X series. Let's talk about this. Came out in 2016, I believe. I think there's 6 or 7 books total in the series. I don't know. I don't have them. I just bought this one and read it to see if I was going to buy the rest of the series. So let's see what I think of it and if I might buy the rest of the series or not. So let's talk about the cover. You know, I love graphic design and cover illustration. So let's give this cover a bit of a rating. I like it. I actually like this cover a lot. I think it says exactly what it needs to say. ORPHAN X. There's one lone guy in the middle of an X. It's even on the spine. I think the spine is pretty cool. So overall, I really like this cover a lot. It's very dynamic and it gets us where we want to go. What about the book? It's about an orphan, clearly. Okay, so I've got some issues here. And it's mostly about the orphan part, and we'll talk about that. Because, as you know, if you followed my channel for any length of time, you know that I was adopted. I didn't know my biological heritage for most of my life. And so I've got some feelings on this. Because in a lot of ways, I feel like, for most of my life, I felt like an orphaned bastard boy with a destiny. You know, kind of like Luke Skywalker or, Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. You know, so whenever I see things about orphans, I'm kind of drawn to them. But I also am very critical because I know what it's like to be a person who doesn't know where he came from. Okay, so let's start with that premise. A young kid is taken out of an orphanage. We don't know his name. He's taken out of an orphanage and taken to a secret training school where they train people to be assassins. Much like, the Red Sparrow school in Russia. If you saw the Red Sparrow movie with Jennifer Lawrence, or maybe you read the book Red Sparrow, I don't know. But it's kind of like that. Secret assassin training schools, but just for orphans. And each orphan is given a name. And the names that they're given are Orphan A, Orphan B, Orphan C, Orphan D, E, F, and all the way to X. So this guy is Orphan X. And he meets a few of the other orphans throughout the story, Orphan Z, Q, I can't remember which, Orphan O, Orphan Zero, as they say. Because Orphan O sounds weird, so they call him Orphan Zero. Anyway, so that's the premise of the school. So throughout this book, it's set in the present day, 2016, but we also get a lot of flashbacks to when our main character was in the orphan school being taught by his orphan master all the secrets of being an assassin. And there's rules that come with being an assassin. And what I'm only going to mention a few of the rules. Like one of the rules is know your surroundings. I won't mention all the rules because they're fun to just discover on your own. But one of the rules is know your surroundings. So when we get to meet Orphan X as an adult, he lives in the penthouse apartment in Los Angeles. And he knows his surroundings. The penthouse apartment is very grim. Everything is cement and gray. There's nothing fancy in there. It's just a basic apartment with bulletproof windows and bulletproof everything. And he has done the research on every single person that lives within a 10-block radius of him. In every skyscraper around, in every house, in every store, everything, he knows not only does he know the history of every person that lives, like if he looks out his window and looks down at the 4th floor window of the dude across the street, he knows everything about that guy, plus all the people in his own building, plus everybody in the building behind him. Not only that, but he knows the architecture and schematics of every single building within a 10-block radius of him. Not only that, but he's got like a half a dozen safe houses throughout Los Angeles where he's done the same thing. Where in case that house gets compromised, he can go to this other safe house, which he knows every single person in the neighborhood of those half a dozen. I mean, it's just so he's very thorough in the way that he sticks to these rules of assassination, which one of the rules is know your surroundings. Another one of the rules is always play offense. Don't ever be on defense. Play offense. So what happens is he gets this he just takes on. He was an assassin. He did assassinations for 15 years. Now he's not an assassin anymore. He's just more of a freelance guy. So he's sort of stepped out of the orphan program. But now he's just on his own, but he still has the skills, and he still follows the rules. But he's a freelance kind of fixer guy. What he does is he just fixes problems for people. And one of the first problems we get here is that there's a girl that is being sex trafficked. And she wants out of it, and she doesn't want her young sister to be sex trafficked too. And so now Orphan X has to help her not be sex trafficked, and that, and the other. But it gets him involved in this whole sex trafficking game. And then there's more things where just other people and different people come into this mixture of things that he's got to discuss. And the whole time I'm thinking to myself, because he seems like a pretty this is a type of job that is unique. And I was often wondering, and maybe because this is only book one, and maybe these topics are discussed in the next books, and the books to come, the ones that I haven't read. But he seems very detached from the fact that he is an orphan, and that he doesn't know who his parents are. And coming from someone who's been in the same position, you often, when you don't know your biological heritage, you spend a lot of time in your own head thinking, what would my biological parents think of what I'm doing right now? Where are they? Who are they? Would they approve of my life? Would they, have I made them proud? I mean, things like that. I mean, you think about that a lot, and there's no hint of any of that in his head, which I was hoping we would get. I was hoping that he would kind of, as he's doing these crazy assassinations and being this badass killer, if at any point in time he'd be like, I wonder if my biological mother even knows I'm doing this shit. And what she would think about it. Or my father. Do they even know where I'm at? Maybe I already killed him. Maybe I assassinated him and have no idea. These things run through your head when you are an adopted person or an orphan. It's non-stop. We get none of that. So that's the thing, as I was hoping that we would get some. Now maybe this kind of stuff will show up in future volumes. I hope so. Certainly hope so. Orphan X. The guy is a dynamite killer. One of the things that you read these thrillers for is because they are fantasies. They are like male fantasies where this guy, Orphan X, who calls himself Evan Smoke. So in real life, just so he can rent things and drive cars, he has a real name. Evan Smoke is his name that he goes by. But anyway, and he kind of has friends that he in his little apartment community, and that he befriends and stuff. So he's not a completely cold-hearted dude, but he is so skilled. Those just over-the-top spies in the Robert Ludlum novels, like the Matrice Circle or the Bourne Identity. Just those guys that even if the breeze slightly changes, they know that there's a guy with a 9mm Glock over in the window over here, and they just wham and they hit him. This is the type of unrealistic fantasy we're getting into with this thing, where he's like, he can see in the reflection of the water glass across from him that there's a sniper behind him. I mean, that's the kind of hyper unrealistic sort of covert operational type things we're getting with Evan Smoke and Orphan X. He's just a Superman that can just never be outdone. He's like the Jack Reacher. He's not powerfully built like Jack Reacher. He's just more unrealistic skills. But that's part of the fun of these kind of books, is we all want to be that guy. We all want to be like Orphan X, where we're all on a spy mission to do good in the world, and nobody can get one over on us because we're so skilled and our senses are so attuned to everything around us, and we never get tunnel vision, and we're always aware of everything. And that's the way Orphan X is. It's all right. I don't have a problem with that. That's why we read these books. I just wished he would have thought about his mommy once in a while. Anyway, I don't know if I will read any of the other ones. My mind has still not been made up. I give this a good solid 7 out of 10. Review. It certainly kept me interested. I was hooked. I was hooked for sure. It's just I got so many books in my library. Do I really have space to start collecting another series? That is the question, folks. That is the question.